Hello and welcome back to Rogue Trader. We are in Chapter 4, and this is what I'm going to call the Consequences chapter. Why? Well, if we look at how we got here. Act 1, tutorial. Very low scope, very low stakes, pretty much didn't matter. Whatever happened in Act 1 essentially doesn't matter, because everything got blown up, clean slate, we get to the Expanse. So, we're now in the Koronus Expanse. Lots and lots of low stake choices, right? It expanded everything. We had a lot of low stake choices with open-ended bits on them, right? Like we had a lot of things that could happen in the future based on very low stake choices at the time. So now all of those choices have happened. We've had 2 time skips. So we skipped time to the start of Act 3. Then in Act 3, we also skip time because we are assuming that we've been there a reasonable amount of time. I mean, we've been there long enough for a war to get started, so you could kind of assume we've been there months. In fact, if you actually think about this game, in terms of what we've been doing moment to moment, we have been on this ship for years at this point, effectively. At least that's the way I see it, right? I mean, we've been to all of these planets, we spent a long time traveling between planets, we spent a long time going everywhere. This potentially could have been years that we were on the ship. It could be months that we were in this other realm. So we are now effectively back after a reasonable time skip. We've made a ton of choices in Chapter 2, so this is why I call this the Consequences chapter, because I'm assuming we're about to see what all of those choices have merged into and what they have become and what effects they're going to have on the rest of the game. And, of course, how it's going to lead us in to a finale. But, yeah, before we do that, we have a lot of other things to do. We also have a lot of quests. Where do I even want to start? You know what? Before we even get into quests, right? Because that's too much right now. Let's start with something we know. We need to level up. We have a lot of people to level up, so doing that now seems like a sensible thing to do before we get into anything else, because once we start talking to one companion, we'll be here a while. I'm actually fairly confident that we're not even going to leave the ship in this episode, because we have so much to catch up with our companions about, especially the companions who weren't with us in, who weren't with us in Comorak. So, let's start with a nice easy one. Leveling up ourself. This should be very easy. We are taking a common talent and a characteristic. Actually couldn't be easier. Common talent, I'll give you one clue, it's intelligence. That's what we're taking. Why are we taking intelligence? Because it's the best stat for us. Everything we have scales off of intelligence. All of our skills that we use scale off into intelligence. It's the best stat. That's why we're taking it. And then we get 1 talent. So this is just a basic level talent. Have I taken characteristic training intelligence? I have. Okay. Just seeing what else we've got. So we've got advanced skills as well, haven't we? We've had a couple of those. And see if there's anything else in here that we're looking for in particular. No, I think we probably either take a characteristic here, or we take another base skill and an advanced skill. We take base skill, lower Imperium, and advanced skill, and that will then give us yet another one here. We could also take Aldari weapon proficiency if we wanted to just happen to use the Aldari weapons as well. I don't think we need to. Let's take base skill, lower Imperium. Although what we could take, now that I think about it, is we could take base skill tech use. If we don't think that we're going to have Pascal in the party 100% of the time, which, to be fair, we might. But if we don't think we're going to do that, we should take tech use or medicate and try and get ourselves, trained up in that so that we can fill in. Yeah, let's take tech use. I actually think that's a good idea. There we go. And then on our next one, we can take advanced tech use, which will then give us another 13 to it. So it'll put us very high on tech use, and it'll give us double rolls. And we already have double rolls. So we'll be very happy there. We're going to skip the people who were not with us because they need a little bit more investigation, especially the Psychers. Oh, Pascal also wasn't with us, technically. Oh, I just remembered, these guys don't just have... Yeah, they don't have Exemplar, they have the remainder of their old class as well. Oh, okay. As I said, there's going to be a lot of leveling up. Exemplar Jai. So you get a characteristic. I would say that Fellowship is probably her characteristic. Although there is an argument to be made for agility. Yeah, there is an argument. 1 point of agility would be pretty good, actually. That would give her, another bit on that. But Fellowship, she does have things that scale off of it. Yeah, and it is what we use all of our skills with. I guess she's actually pretty good at tech use. You know what? If I'd seen her tech use, I would have been like, well, maybe we just take her whenever we're not taking Pascal. But I guess we're not necessarily taking one or the other either way. Right, let's do that. No heresy I clicked on here. This would lower her lore warp and Xenos. Yeah, I guess that could be fine, although I don't know how often we're going to be fighting Xenos or Demonic. I assume we're going to be fighting them a lot, but I don't know how often. Or whether we're going to be fighting more humans for a while. We increase resolve every time we use a non-damaging ability on someone. That seems pretty good. Yeah, I think I'll go with what Past Me said here. Ready to Serve seems quite nice. Increase resolve by fell bonus divided by 2 for 1 round. Gives them 4 resolve for 1 round. Yeah, that's definitely gonna ramp up. Especially as that doesn't just apply it to them, it will also then apply it to like the other ally a buff, and then to another ally a buff, and so on. So that's good. Right, Marazai. Characteristic. Agility. That seems straightforward to me. Yep. Okay, increases his dodge. It's kind of self-explanatory. Then I'm just quickly scanning here what he has. Swift movements could be nice. Give him a little extra movement point. Also, overpower. You need to have heavy weapon proficiency. Well, that would explain why he doesn't have it then, huh? Yeah, we could get him Aldari equipment, so he can use the equipment from the Aldari side. Do we have any Aldari equipment that we would want him to use? Because we probably got, like, most of the Aldari equipment we're going to get, I assume. Oh, right, there we go. Just seeing, do we actually have any Aldari stuff here? Dodge if the wearer is in any cover. That's kind of nice. What does his current stuff give him? It gives him dodge if his agility is more than 65. Yeah, no, I think he's fine. I don't think he needs Aldari equipment. Although Aldari equipment would allow him to use the Aldari... I know I'm going back to this menu. That would allow him to use the Aldari things in here as well, right? Yeah. Is there anything in here that you might want? It's Drukari equipment. Oh, must not have Drukari equipment. Sorry. That's fine. Must not have Drukari equipment. Yeah, no. So there's no Aldari stuff we actually want him to use, so why would we give him that? Agility. While bleeding, he gains additional armor based on toughness. While bleeding, every kill grants him a stacking bonus to weapon skill and ballistic skill. Fellowship and willpower increased by 15. He's always bleeding, so I guess having extra willpower might be nice for willpower tests. Yeah, you know what? Let's get him emboldened by bloodshed. While he's bleeding, which he applies to himself, his fellowship and willpower go up. That seems nice. Yeah, that seems like that would be useful. Okay. Ulfar. He doesn't need weapon skill or ballistic skill. Very obvious reason is that his weapon skill and ballistic skill are insane. So therefore he doesn't need any more of it. They go up so quickly with versatility that there's just no conceivable reason why he would need that. Now, his toughness will feed into his strength if we take it, right? Because it would give him extra health. So, let me just unselect this for a second. Back to archetypes. Yeah, I want to cancel that. So, right now he's on 130 strength. If we gave him more toughness, that would then give him another 10% wounds, which would then, let's say it gave him an extra, it probably won't give him an extra 20, it probably has already calculated it all. So It's currently giving him 97. Because he's got an 8 bonus. It's got 80% of whatever the number was before. I'm trying to work out how much strength this is going to give him. I'm going to give him toughness because I think it will actually give him more than 5 strength. That's what I'm going to do. Well, if it doesn't, that's fine. So he's on 130. We'll see where that goes after that. Game's critical hit chance for axes, hammers, and las weapons. No. 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 Right. Down here. I haven't ticked anything yet. We give him characteristic training as well. He already has toughness. Does he have characteristic training strength? He doesn't. Why don't we just give him extra strength? Yeah, so you might end up at 140 strength here. Let's see. That might be good. 138. He's almost there. If we refresh this, if I head in and out, or out and in. Yeah, so he's now got 215 health. So if his health goes up any more, he'll gain another point of strength. That's nice. Also, if he gets a buff, like say from Jai, then his strength will go up again, and it might go up just enough to get him another bonus on that. So, yeah, nice. Earliette. Let's get you. I actually don't know what we go for. Probably not ballistic skill. Perception would make the most sense, right? Yeah, she has things that scale off perception. So let's grab her a little extra perception. It's also what her awareness uses. Then, let's see. Doing a quick scan here. Doesn't need Drukhari weapon proficiency. Probably a characteristics training, I would imagine. Unless we're yeah, I was gonna say unless we're gonna give her anything extra on a skill. How about we give her characteristics training, agility. That gives her 1 extra to agility, but will also increase her demolition skill. That seems nice. Yeah, so if we need to use it, we can. Okay. Abelard. Toughness. That's easy. I mean, he has the same thing that Ulfar has that makes his toughness give him more health, but he also has everything else scaling off of toughness, so that's an obvious one. Here, no heresy is potentially good. Yeah. What else did I click here? Base skill carouse. Yeah, that seems that would be good, but also, hear me out. Why don't we give him another toughness so he gets to the next toughness bonus, thereby gaining more wounds, thereby gaining more strength. Let's see. Yeah, that seems good. So, he is now up at 96 strength. And if I go out and in, we'll now see that he has 106 health, which is very nice. Okay, next. Okay, next we're going to go people who are with us, but who have not gone into exemplar leveling yet. And we're going to start with Argenta, as Argenta is easier. By far. She has a very straightforward playstyle. In fact, she's already leveled all of Arch Militant as well. Makes her even easier. So, we need to go through these again quickly. That's fine. All damage dealt by the character is increased by 3% until the end of combat for every new enemy damage. That's potentially good. It said no ranged weapons, which is just basically stupid. She has a lot of dodge, so critical velocity could be good, but remember that we worked out that's not actually that... Yeah, it's only 7%. You're not actually going to gain that much from it. If the character's dodge reduction, nope, it won't be. Every round after the character kills the first enemy, the character immediately attacks with an additional single attack against its closest enemy it can target with the same weapon. Okay, that's fine. Whenever the character deals damage to an enemy, the enemy suffers stacks of degrading defense. Whenever an ally attacks it, they deal additional damage. Don't think we need that. Let's continue down here. Any damage the character deals is increased by 1 for every attack they have made this combat. Yeah, that's probably the one we're going for. That gives her base damage, which is insane. Yeah, that's probably insane. Again, we want to just go through all of these. The reason we want to go through all of these is so that we don't need to do it on every single level up. We do it once, and then we're kind of set. And targets single shots deal damage to anyone other than their main target. So yeah, that's when it pierces through. Deadeye shots count for, like, they deal additional damage. I'm just seeing what other things count. I don't think any of these matter to us. Yeah. Peak condition gains a bonus to strength based upon toughness. +5 to all characteristics. Yeah, sure. Character ignores ballistic skill divided by 2 of the enemy's deflection. Very nice. That might actually be a really good one for her to have. The reason is that all of her weapons don't have very high base values, so ignoring deflection is obviously nice to just make sure your damage sticks a little bit harder. If your armor pen is, it doesn't matter, our armor pen isn't. If the character loses wounds. Attacks gain over penetration, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to take Extermination because that gives Argenta 1 damage for every attack they make this combat. They make like 5 attacks a turn. It's obviously going to work, right? Especially as her attacks are burst. Like if she's doing 10 shots and every single time she shoots, she gains 1. So it's not every time she shoots, it's every time she does an attack, so right? But let's say that she does 3 attacks, then does a burst attack at the end. That burst attack has +4 damage to it, which is then hitting up to 10 times. That's 40 extra damage from 1 turn. On the next turn, it's 80. On the next turn, you know, that's 120. It very, very quickly gets out of control. And that's assuming that you have no multipliers to that damage, which, of course, she does. So, yeah. Good. First tier archetype. It's been a while since we looked at these for her. I'm just going to go down here. Make sure we've got everything that seems sensible. The soldier's second attack action in a turn deals 5 + 2 times agi bonus % more damage to enemies that have not suffered damage from the soldier during this turn. So, that would deal an extra 19% more damage. Maybe. I can go to the maybe one. What's fired up? Whenever the soldier deals damage, their critical damage is increased by 1. That's whenever they deal damage. So every single every single trigger on a burst attack would give it a +1 here. Yeah, I can see why I ticked it. That's very good. Controlled shot costs 1 less AP to use if you have an ally adjacent to you. Yeah, it's not going to come up. Or it shouldn't come up. While at full wounds, gain more ballistic skills. Basically on turn 1 you might get some stuff. First hit of a burst attack deals more damage. I suppose that's a maybe. After the soldier deals damage to 3 different enemies, the soldier gains 10 + 2 times ballistic skill bonus % more damage for their next attack. I really like these next attack ones. I prefer, you don't need second skin. I prefer, like, the ones that last for combat. For the next attack, you have to be much better at keeping track of when you're getting the bonuses. Dash does not end the soldier's movement for the turn. Enemies adjacent to the starting point of dash will consider the soldier their lowest priority. I kind of like that. I've come to respect lowest priority. I think it's good. And then, yeah, these are our generic ones. Well, I will take whenever they deal damage, their critical damage is increased by 1%. That's good. Skill. Well, that's going to be demolition. And then we get a second tier archetype. Okay. What are we looking for here? Arms Master? Nope. Blood Haze? Nope. Devastating attack also reduces the target's armor by 7% and toughness by 10. That's okay, I suppose. When entering combat, the Archmilitant gains ballistic skill, weapon skill, and weapon skill, ballistic skill. Yeah, so I don't need 6 ballistic skill, and I don't use melee weapons, so that's fine. You use two-handed ranged weapons within melee range, but with a -10 penalty to ballistic skill. Okay. Deals 20% critical damage against targets that are stunned, prone, or blinded. Yeah, that seems like it would be good, but it doesn't really work all the time. Bonus to armor for every stack of versatility. You could stack that very quickly. Yeah. If you got 4, let's do the 4 stacks thing, right? If you get 4 stacks in a turn, that would give you 4%, which would, yeah, so 4%, 8%, 12%. So after 3 turns, you would then be on 50% armor overall, based on what she's currently working with. Yeah, that could be good. Gains 1 stack of versatility whenever an ally grants the Archmilitant an extra turn. Honestly, that's not enough stacks of versatility. We're getting them so much quicker that 1 is not relevant anymore. Exploit weakness. Yeah, that one feels like that takes too much. Reducing the cost of wildfire by 1 for every 3 stacks of versatility. Potentially good. I think I decided not to do that because we gain versatility too quickly. Yeah, I think it's the same kind of thing. We gain versatility too quickly, therefore this doesn't become relevant. Yeah. Preferred targets? Yeah, no. No. Okay. I'm going to take dependable. I think the armor is actually going to be very good. I think that it means that in a longer fight, you will gain more armor, and longer fights are the difficult fights. So therefore, yeah, that seems good. Now, it was suggested I got her to 45 strength, because 45 strength, 1, means she doesn't put away her heavy weapon when she drops strength, but 2, means that she can use a different piece of equipment which will be available at some point. I'm actually going to increase it to 50 for the same kind of logic. If I need 45 to use this piece of equipment, I'm going to put it to 50 so that if we lose a little bit of strength, we don't immediately take off our armor. Right. And then, there was a heavy weapon one I saw down here. I just want to see what it... is it overpower? Yeah. When firing heavy weapons, critical hit chance is increased by ballistic skill percent and critical damage by 3 times ballistic skill. Yeah, I'll take that. That's really good. Because her ballistic skill goes up with versatility. Because it goes up with versatility, it means that now her critical damage goes up with versatility, and we have yet another scalar on critical damage, which powers up over the combat. Great. Pascal is now the most leveled up character that we haven't fully leveled up. Let's go to Exemplar and level him up. So, let's think. What does he need? So, all damage is increased for every new enemy damaged by them this combat. Don't think that's the way you really play. You don't really apply things. You don't really do that. The characters, I guess you use melee attacks, which means that we can now actually look at the melee attack ones. The character's first melee attack each round deals additional +2 damage for every cell between the character's current position and where they started. Not relevant. Don't care. Don't care. Melee attacks reduce armor and it stacks. Yeah, but we don't want to do that. During the first turn of combat, the character has 2 additional action points. He does have a buff he sets up on the first turn of combat. That's kind of useful. Keep going down here. That's something that said fell bonus. Immediately stop looking. I do kind of like gaining extra wounds, or gaining extra health. I think that might be useful for him. Because, you know, he doesn't really use cover very well. Keep heading down here. Enemies hit by a melee attack must pass a willpower resistance test to make the character their priority target. I just realized that Know-It-All would be really cool. The reason why Know-It-All might be good, it's not necessarily that good by itself, but because we already have Know-It-All, it means that whenever he's in the party, we're getting another bonus, which I think is great. Yeah, we're not really a willpower resistance test kind of character. We're also not really a willpower resistance test kind of party either. Gains bonus to strength equal to maximum wounds. That could be good. Especially if we could find a way to raise our maximum wounds at that point. +5 to all characteristics. Might as well click it every time we go past it, just because there's no reason not to. Whenever they're healed, they regain a little extra wounds. Whenever they lose wounds, their next melee attack gains +1 damage for every 2 wounds the character has lost. Again, potentially. Steel shell deflection is doubled against single target attacks. We do kind of want to raise his deflection at some point. Character gains additional wounds. These wounds are further increased by toughness, in the same way as basic wounds. Again, kind of interesting. Gains a bonus to resistance tests equal to 5 times deflection. Again, his deflection's kind of good. I think I might take... I just can't see a world where I don't take peak condition every time. What is 20% of 75? That is something I should be able to work out very quickly without needing to do what I'm currently doing. However, I am not doing that. I'm instead using a calculator to get the number while trying to distract you by continually talking. That is 15. That would give him exactly 15 strength. Okay, and given that he's using a two-handed weapon, that would give him another... Well, give him another 10% damage on his weapon. Which scales? It says it gives him +14. But it gives... Wait. Unless I did my calculations wrong, but I don't think I did. Does that not give exactly 15? Why am I getting +14? I have to take this just because I'm curious. First tier. So this is operative. While their perception bonuses, don't care. If target of analyzed enemies has 2 more exploits, they suffer 1 additional exploit. Not important. While they attack an enemy at full wounds, that attack deals perception bonus, don't care. Whenever they hit an enemy that's affected by both an exploit and exposed weakness, that enemy takes debuffs. Not my problem. The operative's allies gain operatives int bonus divided by 2% hit chance and critical hit chance when attacking targets exploited by weakness. I mean, it's okay, but I would love to get something better. Sharpshooter, if they've not moved this turn, I mean, that's probably not going to happen. You also don't really use perfect spot. Intimidation kills the target. The damage of all other enemies in the area of intimidation is reduced by 4 times by int bonus. That's kind of okay. I don't really use it, but I should. Whenever you trigger an exploit, you get +1 damage and 2% armor penetration till the end of combat. Only applies to the first projectile in a burst. Yeah, Tide of Excellence is okay. Because he has AoE attacks, which could trigger a whole bunch of them at once. Forge World characters can use these on Intelligence of Fellowship. Maybe. Don't need that. Gain a bonus to hit, chance, and dodge reduction against any target they hit with a single target attack. Successful critical hits increase the hit chance and dodge reduction by another 20%. His melee attacks apply the Machine Spirit Communion effect on all attacked enemies. Yeah, but he tends to just kill them, that's the thing. Machine Spirit Communion applies 1 stack of exploit on all affected enemies. Yeah, it's okay, I suppose. Oh, I didn't really want to click it, but that's fine. Utility Mechadendrite. Bonus to tech use and demolitions. I mean, the tech use +10 is good, I guess. I might take Tide of Excellence. He seems like the kind of thing you'd be able to proc really easily. Which makes sense for me to give it to him then. I mean, he's the tech use guy. We'll give him tech use. We could also give him Medicae. His tech use is kind of at the point where you don't need any more. Let's give him 1 more tech use. And then we have to choose a second tier. Okay. These are assassin ones. And nearly all the assassin ones are hot garbage for him. So let's see if we've got any that are good. The hemorrhage effect by Death Whisper deals additional 10 damage. That's actually pretty nice, given that he does have Death Whisper. Although we mostly just use it as an extra attack. Whenever they deal direct damage, the target must pass an agility resistance test with a negative based on our agility. Nope. Nope. If you deal direct damage, the enemy suffers vulnerable. It's based off of something that we only get 4 on, so that's not good. It's perception. Yeah, don't really care about that then. Let's see. When the assassin hits an opening, the assassin's damage is increased by an agi %. The enemy last damaged by the assassin gains a witness. Yeah, we looked at a lot of these for Malachi, so I'm not really that worried. Dance deals an additional 3 direct damage that's based on your agility. So we don't really need it. Whenever the assassin hits an enemy without hitting their opening, gain agi bonus dodge. Yeah, okay. Lethality. First use of an assassin ability costs 0. I mean, that actually sounds pretty good. I'll take Professional Acumen, as I think it's the only one I really like here. Maybe Carmen Whisper is okay. Yeah, let's take Professional Acumen. We then get one of these. We have a -5 to toughness. Why? I don't know, but you know what? Given that we took something that gives us strength based on health, let's take toughness so that our toughness will even out at 40. I think that will even it out at 40. Right? Or does that give us 45? No, that will give us 45 maybe? I can't remember what... No, this is... Is this our base number or not? That's what I can't remember. Oh, we're getting plus 15 from strength now. Oh, interesting. That gives us plus 16. Could give ourselves strength. You know what? I'm being stupid. I should just give ourselves intelligence. It is what everything else scales off of. Let's just be consistent. And then I could take the one that gives us tech. Yeah, I could take the one that gives us extra tech use, but I could also just take the tech use one. Here, I'm just seeing if we have anything else that we can take. Like, it will not die. Increases wounds by half of character's level. That'll become very... Actually... That is actually really good now because our strength scales off of our wounds. Yeah, let's take that then. Let's take It Will Not Die. That's give us even more strength. It's going to give us 19 strength. Okay, cool. It actually gave us 20. There we go. So we've ended at 70 strength there. So we got a 20 strength increase from what we just did. And we got an intelligence increase. Nice. Just going in and out, and now he has 102 health as well, which is a much better place to be. It puts him at exactly the same amount as... Oh, it doesn't actually. Puts him at 4 less than Abelard. I thought it was exactly the same amount. Okay, so now we have to decide which complex character are we going to deal with. Cassia, Heinrichs, or Adira? Let's do Cassia first. She's kind of unique. So Cassia is our navigator. So, need to figure out what we're doing with her. Alright. So yeah, we were taking a lot of It's been so long since we last used her. Took a lot of navigator stuff. Enemies damaged by navigator suffer additional damage from warp damage. Yeah, we were trying to make her more attacking than she was. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we were trying to do. I remember. You also heal based upon the number of tactical advantage stacks that you gain. Just trying to remember the character. I think it's just basically buff people and then everything will go well. Yeah. Yeah, it's just keep buffing people. Essentially. Yeah. Just all of these essentially just say buff people. What does this scale off of? Willpower bonus. We want to get our willpower to go higher. Willpower. That's your additional AP. Yeah. Okay, cool. Characteristic. Which characteristic would I like? Well, I can't take willpower and fellowship. Perception is our next highest stat. I should probably take perception. That's easy enough. Common talent. Ebb and flow. This is kind of useful. It's the one where every second turn she gets something else, so she can either have plus 20 perception or an action point. Really, ignore the perception. Every second turn she gains an action point. That's kind of useful. Enemies affected by the navigator's ability suffer a -10 penalty to the next resistance from navigator powers. That's kind of useful because taking one of these, I believe, gives you Is it fellowship? One of these gives you something. If their perception is higher than their agility, dodge is calculated using perception. I'd forgotten. See, that is very useful. Makes all resistance tests with willpower. Yeah. I'm trying to find which one I'm looking for here. But yeah. Where are we? That one sounds good. Perilous ways. Enemies moved by the navigator's abilities suffer damage at the end of their turn, but not a lot of damage. Increase for how far they move. Okay. Whenever the navigator uses a navigator power that's not been used as combat, gains some perception. It's fine. Whenever an enemy fails resistance test, they're more likely to be crit. Navigator path powers deal +1 additional damage for every 5 bonus characteristic of the navigator's current staff. Yeah. Till the end of combat, enemies damaged by the navigator suffer 7 damage from all attacks of opportunity and cannot dodge them. While under the effect of a navigator power, enemies have their armor reduced by 2 times the navigator's willpower bonus. Okay, yeah. I still haven't found the one I was looking for. Yeah, 5 fellowship and 1 for every navigator talent or power. So if we take 1 navigator talent or power, we get an extra fellowship bonus here. Okay, allies that are targeted by navigator's power gain 10% armor. This additional armor is reduced by the amount of veil degradation to a minimum of +0 and increased by the infusing parameter of the currently equipped navigator staff. So as long as the infusing parameter is above 5, you're likely going to get some armor, but not a lot. Okay, and then this is common talent. Okay. Well, given it's in common talents, let's just grab like ebb and flow. I think ebb and flow could be really good here. Yeah. And then we get another thing here. So orchestrated volley and last volley can be used multiple times per turn. This is the one I never use, right? Yeah, the 3x3 zone on the battlefield. Just seeing what we have here. Yeah, the Master Tactician and 1 ally make 2 attacks instead of 1 during orchestrated volley. Sure. Why not? She doesn't have a burst or area attack, so it doesn't seem like that would be very good for her. So, right. Switch to her Exemplar one. Right. Exemplar talent. Whenever the character takes an extra turn. In willpower as long as they have no weapons. Staffs do not count as ranged weapons. That could be good. Yeah. Just never equip a weapon. Keep going down. She doesn't actually attack people. So all of these ones that say when the character deals damage, we can basically just immediately skip. I don't know if I need extra action points in the first turn of combat. That's weirdly one of the turns where she doesn't need the extra stuff. Yeah, that seems good. Firebrand, give them more AP. Yeah. It's okay. Characters around them get bonuses on toughness and fell. I saw fell, so I was looking at it, but then realized that it's not very good. Int bonus doesn't matter. Whenever an enemy fails a willpower resistance test, they suffer direct damage. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Whenever an enemy is attacked by... Or whenever the character is attacked by an enemy, they gain momentum equal to the difficulty tier. Yeah, that doesn't happen. +5 to all characteristics. Might as well click it. I mean, you never know. It might end up being the best thing for us at some point. Yeah, none of this is needed. Yeah, this is all not what we're after. Firebrand is really good. Eager subordinates increases damage of your subordinates. The willpower, though, seems like the best option. So she's going to gain a ton of willpower because she's never going to have a ranged weapon equipped. And she scales off of willpower, therefore that's really good. Okay, first tier. So this is Officer. Whenever an ally is affected by an officer's ability or talent that grants temporary wounds, that ally's armor is increased by 10% for 1 round. Whenever an ally uses a heroic act, the ally gains temporary wounds equal to 10% of their maximum wounds plus resolve. The range of the officer's ability is increased by +3. The range of voice of command is increased by +6. Whenever an officer uses an ability on an ally that gains a bonus to their perception, that ally gains a bonus to their perception and ballistic skill equal to 9. These bonuses stack, but half the stacks rounded up are lost at the end of the target's turn. So you need to keep using it on allies. And that 9 is fellowship. Okay. Whenever a heroic act is used in combat by any character, the next attack will cost 0. Whenever the officer uses an officer archetype ability 2 times in one turn, it does not grant an extra turn. Again, the stand witness effect. Next officer ability that does not grant an extra turn will also affect the officer. If the officer makes an attack, they gain +5 fellowship until the end of combat. Okay. The target of Bring It Down gains +1 AP, however, they'll suffer 9 direct damage at the end. That's because that's willpower, right? That is willpower. So this is less useful on Cassia than it is on Jai, because Jai's willpower is god-awful, while Cassia's keeps scaling. It'll actually be, it won't be 9, it'll be 11, I believe, because she's getting +15. So yeah, that's a little much. Whenever the officer targets an ally with an action, the ally's resolve is increased by 1 until the end of the officer's next turn. It stacks and is prolonged until the officer's next turn each time it stacks. That's kind of nice. Whenever an ally starts a turn, including any extra turn adjacent to the officer, will not happen. The officer's resolve is increased by 3. Okay. Wounds are no excuse. Get back in the fight removes 1 fresh injury from the target and heals that target for officer's willpower bonus divided by 2 wounds for each condition removed. A minimum of officer's willpower bonus divided by 2 wounds is always healed even if no conditions are removed. Okay. Well, I'm going to take... I think focus is nice. I kind of feel like leader's assault would be good. However, I don't know if our navigator abilities, I don't actually even know if they count as attacks. That's my problem. I think personal oversight could be good. Just gain a lot of resolve very quickly. Next, we get 10 to one of these. Probably coercion, because it's your lowest stat of the ones that we want you to have. Yeah, why don't you have coercion? Second tier talent. So again, we have all of the navigator ones that we can always take. See, all allies have dodge against attacks made by allies. Not important. Master Tactician deals more damage. Not a problem. All of these ones say heroic act. I don't really like them. All of the Master Tactician's abilities work as if the Master Tactician had 9. That's on Fellowship, which now stacks. Extra tactical advantage. Very nice. Gains 1 stack of tactical advantage for every hit scored. Not a problem. We will never hit someone. Whenever a Master Tactician or the Master Tactician's allies use any consumable item. So far, that doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Yeah, every time we kill something, again, doesn't really seem like that'll happen. Yeah, critical damage doesn't really seem like that matters. Whenever you heal, you do something. Doesn't really matter. So you're not going to heal either. Nope. No reloading. Nope. Target of Inspire gains 5% additional damage. Yeah, well, that seems good. Let's take Hidden Advantage. I like that. Especially as our Fellowship now scales. I had to put one of these into one of these stats. Willpower. It's our best stat. Then we get a common talent. Well, I mean, I just went through all of these, so I'm going to take some navigator talents here. Whichever one I can. Whichever one makes sense. Perilous ways? No. Yeah, gaining perception, I guess, could be okay. Whenever you use a navigator talent that or power that has not been used, you gain 2 perception. It's not insane, but I think that could do something. Wonderful. Yeah, so we have 111 willpower. And our fellowship goes up by 5 every time we... I've already forgotten. Yes, that's true. Every time... Did I not take that one? I thought I took something to a fellowship. Now I'm going crazy. Is it in the previous section? It's probably in the previous section. Nope, I must have looked at it and then never taken it. Oh well, it will still scale whenever we take that thing. Yeah. I'm sure I took it. Nope, I didn't. I must have looked at it and thought, nah, not going to take that one. Okay, Heinrichs, time for you to finish Assassin. So, common talent. Eternal Glory. First time momentum reaches 200 during the Psyker's turn, the Psyker gains +5 to all characteristics. Yeah, that's good. Critical hits scored by anyone within the Psyker's line of sight, including the Psyker themselves, increase the Psyker's critical damage by 1%. Okay. Critical hit chance is increased by Resolve. Now, his Resolve does scale, so these two together could be really good. Okay. Nope. 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 Well, no heresy, I guess, is kind of fine. You affect a lot of people, but your fellowship is not very good. The humanity's finest bonus is okay. Is that strength? Yeah, so you could give 5 strength to everybody else. Which I guess is okay. Usage of a heroic act by the Psyker reduce veil degradation by 3. But that 3 is based off of our intelligence, yes, so that's not really going to help. You gain the inscribed soul ability. Psychic power will not trigger a psychic phenomenon or perils of the warp, but it does do a lot of damage. If you use a damaging psychic power on targets that are 6 cells or further, we don't really use damaging psychic powers. The psychic power is a range of 2 or more cells. That range is increased by +3. That 3 must be intelligence. Perception. Yeah, it's not that good. Psyker's resolve is increased by willpower. Our willpower is also not very good. Do I have anything that I previously marked? No. On the first turn of every combat, all psychic powers of the biomancy discipline cost 1 less. What psychic powers are of the biomancy discipline? Can't remember. I don't think actually he has very many. Of the Psyker's attacks, including psychic powers, now poison enemies, it does 3 + 3 times psi rating, so 18 toxic damage at the start of each of the enemy's turns. That's kind of okay. If they are healed or heal an ally, the target being healed, if they're already at full wounds, they gain temporary wounds. Whenever an effect applied by the Psyker increases damage suffered by a target, this effect is increased by half. For example, a 20% increase becomes a 30% increase. Okay. That wouldn't apply to our extra damage on an attack, because that's not increasing the damage suffered by a target. That's increasing the damage of the attack, which will increase the damage suffered by the target, but it doesn't in of itself increase the damage suffered by the target. Whenever they heal, yeah, we don't heal though. Every time they Psyker deals damage, they gain a stack of Sanguine Siphon effect. If the damage was dealt to targets adjacent to the Psyker, they gain 2 stacks. When the Psyker suffers lethal damage, stacks of Sanguine Siphon are removed to reduce this damage by 1 for each stack, until either all stacks are removed or damage is no longer lethal. I'm trying to think of how... He doesn't attack that much. He does use 2 weapons. I could give him that 2 weapon... dual weapon combat. That might be okay, actually. Yeah, he does use 2 weapons, so... There's a world in which that is not terrible. Okay. Already took his force weapon stuff. Could increase his base stats in here. Could give him Aldari weapon proficiency, which would just be more funny than anything else. Having a member of the Inquisition being asked to use that sort of stuff. Sanctified Slayer. I do like this, and he does increase his own resolve. Yeah, let's take Sanctified Slayer, because he increases his own resolve quite a lot. And then if I take Hymns of Hatred, that could then give him a huge amount of extra damage, which I think is nice. I think on this one, till the end of combat, the target hit by dispatch loses half of its current armor and deflection. I think on this one we just take the extra damage. Yeah, as we did previously. Right, Exemplar. Exemplar talent. Keep working our way down here. Doesn't really apply things to people. I mean, he applies things to his allies, but that's not really what it's asking, is it? It's more saying if you apply something to an enemy, it will do something. Yeah, keep going down here. First turn of combat has 2 additional action points. Actually, no, he has so many action points. That's not useful. Unless we... Well, I guess we give him more psychic powers, but we'll see. Yeah, he doesn't do that many attacks. The healing is probably unnecessary. Yeah, know it all. He has no intelligence. I'm just being mean. It's just like no intelligence, doesn't do this, doesn't do that. Just down the line, just like useless, useless, useless. This character is not any good. I don't mean it that way. The character has a lot of benefits. Strength is fine, but his toughness is terrible and his health is not great. So peak condition, I don't think is what we want to do here. I don't think perfection under fire is good, although it does work with that sanguine ability quite nicely. Where if you went low, it would then stop you from dying, and then you end up with plus 10. But yeah, you wouldn't really want to stay there. I'm assuming we can't take any of these. Yeah, prerequisite is you're not already a psyker. I think we were the only person who could take one, actually, which is interesting. Whenever they lose wounds, yeah, it's more for people who have a lot of wounds to lose, though. Deflection, he doesn't have any. Gains additional wounds, scaling off of toughness. Okay. I guess we could take it. You know what, let's take that just for now. Or, like, click it just for now. If they wear light armor, their dodge is increased by half their armor bonus % of that armor. He does use light armor, so that'd be fine. Okay. Eager for battle. Cataclysm. Wow, I have really not taken a lot here, huh? I guess we could take this. That would give him a little extra dodge. Dodge would be good because that actually leans into the fact that he's an assassin who has lethality, so it gives him something that scales. It gives something to scale his lethality up. Yeah, I guess so. I'll take Hymns of Hatred. So, Resolve gives us critical hit chance. Hymns of Hatred then means that our critical damage will start scaling up. So, it means we can do really big single attacks. Okay. We're starting to build a character here. You would think we would have started to build the character a while ago, given he's been in our party for ages, but let's not worry about that. I'm going to increase your demolitions again, because I actually think athletics is covered by a lot of other people now due to the huge strength inflation that's happened over the last little bit. I get another... Wait. I took this instead of looking at his first tier. Let's not take Hymns of Hatred. Let's look at his first tier stuff. I completely forgot that he had other things he could take. Like these ones down here. I should actually have a look at these rather than just ignoring them immediately. He doesn't really care about attacks of opportunity. Don't think you need that. Whenever an enemy attack... These ones that scale off of... Yeah, scale off of toughness. Don't care. Warriors not attack this turn. They gain bonus to armor. However, it's based off toughness. Attacks to deal additional damage to enemies that are isolated. Gain armor against enemies if you use single shots. Yeah. This is toughness, agility, critical hit chance if you're less than 50%. You pen down here. Hardened scars. Whenever they use endure, their damage deflection increased by 1. Okay. Whenever the warrior parries an attack. Yeah, I don't know if that happens too often. Enemies suffer a penalty to their hit chance of ranged weapons against them. Against the warrior for every enemy in a 1-cell radius around the warrior. Yeah. There are no enemies adjacent to the warrior. Damage increased by 2 times strength bonus for 1 melee attack. Okay. Yeah, 1 damage deflection parry chance increased by 25% of the warrior's total armor. That's quite nice. I think thick skin is quite nice. I'm going to take that instead. I would take the other one. I was going to take the other one and ignore all of that, but yeah, thick skin sounds good enough to take right now. We can take the other one in common talent. Right, second tier archetype ability. So these are assassin ones. So now we're down into the assassin stuff. Yeah, no, everyone has line of sight. Whenever they're at full wounds, yeah, that doesn't happen that much. Things that don't stack. Whenever an enemy suffers a critical hit from one of the assassin's allies at the start of the assassin's turn, a new opening is made. It's okay. We don't attack that much, though. We don't really do direct damage that much. Lethality divided by 5% for next attack for each successful dodge. Whenever the assassin deals direct damage to an enemy, that enemy suffers 1 stack of the vulnerable effect. We don't do direct damage. I shouldn't have read the rest of that. Whenever the assassin hits an opening, they gain agility bonus divided by 2% additional damage till the end of combat. That could be good, you know? Yeah, whenever they attack an enemy, the assassin gains dodge reduction minus target's dodge divided by 2% lethality. Okay. Lone killer, no. Whenever they hit target with an attack that has 100 more lethality for the first time in the round, the assassin regains AP spent for that attack. I mean, he does, but he's always going to have more than 100 lethality, so that's good now. Seize the advantage, gain 15 lethality against people. I think mortally effective is good. I think killing spree is good, because his agility is not terrible. Yeah. I think both of those are fine. Let's take Killing Spree, because I think that'll be easy to proc. Then I need to choose one of these to give him. I think, honestly, he needs to get Agility. I think Agility is going to be what he scales off of now. I know we were building him as a Strength guy originally, but they did change how Strength worked halfway through the game, so, you know, forgive me for not continuing down that path. Does he not have more Psyker stuff he can take? Is this literally the stuff I was just talking about? The more Psyker stuff? I think this might be the more Psyker stuff. Yeah. Although we've already looked at it today. I thought you had more psychic stuff. No. Okay. I guess that must be in abilities. Yes, that'll be in the archetype abilities section, probably. Okay, in which case I will take Hymns of Hatred here. Wonderful. So that now means that he's going to gain a lot of critical damage. Nice. He's now set up. Dira. Hello. Last character. Common talent. Do we need any of these? The 9th successful dodge or parry by the Psyker and their allies combined grants the Psyker +2 additional AP on their next turn. I just don't think that's that useful, actually. If you use a divination psychic power on an ally, the ally gains unnatural luck. If they would suffer a critical hit, it becomes a normal hit. Okay. Every time the Psyker deals mental damage from any source other than Aftershock, the target suffers half as much mental damage at the start of their next turn. Potentially good. Enemies that fail the willpower resistance test against any of the psychic powers suffer additional direct damage every time they suffer mental damage. Okay. Is that caused... no, it's just mental damage in general. Excess damage is dealt to the next person. Let's not worry about that. Mainly because we don't kill that many people. Enemies that become targets of the Psyker's psychic powers gain a stacking -5 penalty to dodge and parry. Enemies suffering from blinded, stunned, immobilized, or prone effects inflicted by the Psyker suffer 10% more damage. Okay. Stronger together is always fine. That's +5 there. Doing my part. Your operative, you're never going to get. Bounty hunter, you may get, but I don't think you need it to be one less. Don't use force weapons. While the Psyker is not in line of sight or the Psyker is in cover, all resistance tests of the target suffer a penalty. After triggering Psychic Phenomenon or Perils of the Warp for the first time each combat, Psyker's next Psychic Power costs 1 less action point. If you use Psychic Powers on people that are far away, it deals additional damage that scales off of something. Ballistic skill. I see. Do we have anything? I thought we had... Yeah, I think we had other stuff that scaled up ballistic skill, and that's why we were taking some more of it. Every Perils of the Warp increases momentum by... Psyker's willpower bonus plus resolve plus psi rating. We maybe want to raise willpower a little bit. Yeah, okay, and then we have the generic skills. Okay, circle background. This makes them cost 1 less. Psychic Barrage. Targets suffer additional damage if they're further away. And it's based on ballistic skill. I think that could be nice. Yeah. What were the other ones? Immobilized, you get stuff. She does immobilize people, I guess. Or she does blind people, so that's kind of useful. I think Aftershock is also good. I think the direct damage is also good. Let's take Aftershock, and then Mind Siege actually seems really good afterwards, right? So you hit them with a thing that causes them to take a willpower resistance test, and you hit them with the ability with Aftershock. Like that ability that blind... She has one that... Am I thinking of Cassia? I might be thinking of Cassia. I think she has one that blinds people or something. So if you do an attack, it causes it causes a resistance test. They take mental damage. That mental damage from Aftershock should then be amplified by this as well. So they take direct damage on their next turn. Yeah, that could be good. Right. Also, you've taken your psi rating up? Yes, he has an item that raises his psi rating. I was trying to think, like, why is her psi rating lower? But that would be a reason why. This ability doesn't really work anyway. Yeah, let's say that we gain Agi bonus MP and restore 3 charges of Hunt Down the Prey. It's more for the charges of Hunt Down the Prey. Right. Exemplar. Exemplar talents. Nope. Damage dealt is increased by 3% for each new enemy damaged. Okay, maybe. Whenever the character applies something, one random enemy within 5 cells also gains that effect. If I back out, how much do I back out, by the way? Is this locked? Yeah, this is locked. Okay, so I can back out and have a look at her stuff for a second. Sensory deprivation. Yeah. If target fails, they are still blinded. Yeah, so she has an automatic way of applying blinded. Therefore, contagion is pretty good, because that would automatically imply blinded to a whole bunch of targets. Yeah. That seems good. Melee, no. I'm starting to recognize what these are. Don't need the extra stuff, but I'll just click it in case we find that we run out of AP. No. Full attention. Doesn't have intelligence. Whenever they fail a willpower resistance test, they suffer 3 plus the character's willpower bonus direct damage. I kind of like having a lot of this direct damage stuff on her. I think that could be a way to build her. So we just keep taking direct damage. What's pinpoint accuracy again? Ignores ballistic skill, deflection. Yeah, don't care. Relentless, don't care. The last ones are all not very good, so I'm going to not care. Right. Let's take Contagion. Okay, now we get a first tier one. So first tier, we can go into psychic powers, but we can also go into operative stuff. So if her perception bonus gets to 10 or higher, she can get 1 AP. That's not going to happen. Attacking an enemy that's a full wounds, the attack deals extra percentage based on perception bonus damage. If they hit an enemy that's affected by an exploit and something else, don't care. Exposed weakness is free, don't care. Don't use in. Don't use in. The first turn of combat, the operative randomly distributes the same number of exploits among enemies in a 10-cell radius as analyze enemies. And then they do it to half as many on the next turn. Okay. Yeah, if they've not moved this in a turn, they gain 6 ballistic skills. That is based off perception. Okay. I mean, that's fine. Yeah. So none of those really stood out to me as things that we need to take. His sharpshooter is okay, because she probably won't move very much. It's not really what we're looking for. Enemies suffering from blinded or prone effects inflicted by the psyker suffer more damage. That could be good, because we also are going to inflict blind on everybody. Yeah. Although, no, we take the Mind Siege one first. There we go. Right. Next. What does she do? Awareness? Yeah, I guess awareness. That's fine. Don't take her in parties with Earliette. That's what I'm getting here. She fills a lot of the same gaps in our team. Second tier, these are some bounty hunter stuff. Do we have any bounty hunter stuff that sounds good? Critical chain, no. Whenever prey is killed, all enemies around suffer an agility loss equal to 5 times the prey's difficulty tier. That could be good if we're going to start killing things. Yeah, she's not really a crit type one. She doesn't really crit, again. Allies gain critical hit chance against enemies that are prey, which I guess would be good. Whenever prey deals damage to a bounty hunter, the bounty hunter gains prey's difficulty tier % damage against that prey for 2 rounds. I don't think that's going to be very much. Whenever prey that is not being trailed is killed by an ally, the bounty hunter gains an extra turn with half their MP and AP, but you cannot attack. That's actually quite useful for her. I think Savor the Kill could be good. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Savor the Kill. It gives you an extra turn in which you can apply buffs and debuffs and things. I said I needed to give her some more willpower. Let's give her some more willpower. Common talent. Weak hearts. So if they're blinded, they then take more damage. That seems good. Yeah, that seems good. Nice. So we've now built a damaging Adira. Wonderful. Okay. Also, I was just wondering here for a second, have any of these changed? No, I don't think these changed throughout the game. I was just double checking. We read Marazai's background, right? I don't know if we did. No, we did. I think so. Anyway, if we haven't, there it is. I don't know if I ever paid attention to this, though, so it's fine. Right. Back to us. That's the end of the episode. I know, it's been a very long time. I'm actually going to go back up here just in case I wander into a cutscene or something. But yeah, that is the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. Next time, there's going to be a lot of talking to people in here. I don't even know if we're going to leave the ship in the next episode. We haven't even looked at our quest list yet. There's just so much to do. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.